Welcome back to season 2 of the Voices in Society podcast. I'm going to have a range of guests coming up. My first guest is a gentleman that has got lived experience within the criminal justice system. He was in jail as a young lad and he has now turned his life around and he's created a recruitment agency to help ex-offenders be able to get a job when they come out. I will let Daniel tell the rest of his story. Right, so we are rolling. Daniel, thank you for coming on to the Voices in Society podcast. My name's Sophie. Can you introduce yourself to the listeners and let them know who you are?
Yeah, I'm Daniel, from Wolverhampton, Managing Director of NextLife Recruitment Agency. We specialise in ex-offenders.
Ex-offenders. So give me a little bit of history about you. You've got lived experience, you're an ex-offender yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, I played football when I was younger, up until I was about 18 at different professional clubs.
Yeah.
Bit of a mad story behind it, but I ended up coming out of my contract at one of the clubs, and then I didn't really want to go back. My attitude kind of stunk a little bit. I was a bit big time. I thought I'd already made it when I hadn't made anything at all. And then about 4 or 5 months after I stopped playing football, I ended up getting 10 years for armed robbery. So
oh wow.
bit of a
was you 18
turnaround.
as well when you got 10 years?
I was 18, yeah.
Did you do the 5 years?
I did 5, yeah. Did just over 5 because I couldn't behave myself. But that turnaround in that time took me about 3 years to actually mature and grow up and understand about my life and about me as a person and be accepting of my skills and my strengths and my weaknesses and start working on myself. Yeah. And in the back end 2 years, I didn't really have any issues at all, really, and I learned a lot, open university courses, and then I came out and this is kind of where this has come from.
As you say, I always say this myself with young people, especially at the moment, youth crime is on the massive rise, it's on the increase. And I think it's sad because, they're getting locked up at a young age and they don't know who they are until 3-4 years. And then you get there and you think, shit, what have I done? Like, what have I done? How did I get here and what do I do to sort of turn my life around? What helped you get to that point?
Time. I needed time. If I'd have got 6 months, I'd have been worse. It wasn't... For me, it's a big saying in my life, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So I had so many good influences and I had so many other influences, but I chose what I wanted to do and I wasn't ready. I hadn't... You need to understand yourself properly to get through this. I believe personally, to get through anything like that. Different kinds of trauma, whatever that may be, or how it was, because it's not. No, don't get me wrong. I was comfortable, but it was because of so much times being uncomfortable. I got comfortable in the end, but it was through being uncomfortable so many times.
You had to go out of your comfort zone.
I was being with that mad. I was sitting in my cell in segregation with no telly, no nothing, and thinking, why am I? I'm better than this. I can do better than this. I've got more to give than this. But it took me time, and it took me to get there. So,
and as you say, if you only had 6 months, you wouldn't have had that time to rehabilitate, so to speak.
No, I would have got out, made friends from all over the country and got back out, and then but my life is a lot different now, and I'm proud to say it, really, to be honest, because it took a long way. Like that kind of sentence when you're young, the next step after that is like a really big sentence.
And it's good that you didn't go back, because you find a sentence that big, you become institutionalized, don't you? And you go out and come in and go out and come in. It's quite common for people that have done 4 years plus. Yeah,
it's tough because I had to carve out my own opportunities. Okay. Hence why I'm doing this now, because of the charges, the gun charges and robbery charges that I had then when I was 18, a boy really, to be honest. They will never leave. So if someone runs a DBS check on me or whatever, that stays for life.
Which
that
is
doesn't
sad,
go
really.
anywhere. Yeah.
How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
29.
So it's sad, something that happened 11 years ago, it would still technically stigmatise you and it'd still prevent you and limit your opportunities that you would get, which is sad because at 18 years old it shouldn't really.
I didn't know who I was yet then, really, to be honest. At that time, I'd have told you everything, but now I didn't know who I was really then, like, to be honest. No, so being able to try and take the struggle away from what I had when I got out, the struggle of finding work, consistent work, stability, like actual contracted work, as in like salary. I was self-employed all the time, like personal training, and other bits and bobs, and it was always a hustle.
Yeah.
It was always a graft. Like, it was always, it was never just the stability that I needed was go to work, know that I'm going to get paid.
Yeah, finish and then have your time to finish.
Do you know what I mean? And have some structure back in my life. Always self-employed. I was always, like, not ducking and diving legally, but it's always a hustle. Do you know what I mean? Even personal training, constantly with clients and in the gym, it's still the same thing.
And I think it's hard as well if you live a life of crime and, you know, that fast money that comes with a life of crime. It's hard, especially if you're sort of accustomed to it. When you come out, it's like, I can't do this anymore.
Especially when you haven't got none.
Yeah, when you haven't got, it's like, you know, I really want to go back to it because it's easy to get just like that, isn't it? So you're fighting with yourself.
I got out, and any money that I saved while I was in there, I came out and had a little bit of money behind me, and I got out instantly and made the first mistake as an 18-year-old would have again. I came out and lived the same life as what my friends lived, in clubs, popping bottles and whatever, like thinking that, like, well, I'm home from prison now, so I've done something accomplished.
Live my best life now.
But all I did then was spend all my money, be back in square one, and then think, now what? And literally, it could have been so different, just like that, from stability and lack of understanding, and because I still had to develop into a man, because I had certain qualities from prison, but money management and looking after myself and stability and actual real things that make you an adult, still didn't have. So
I was going to say, you would have only been 23, wouldn't you? 23,
24,
when
yeah,
you got out.
yeah.
Even then, you've still got a lot to learn about yourself.
Yeah, I did not find out too. So, and it's literally, I promise, it's took me another, from end of 2015 release to literally 18 months, 2 years ago, to be at a genuine point where I could be happy with myself and what I've built for myself, to then try and help other people do the same thing. And that's just where it's come from.
So what is NextLife then? Talk me through what NextLife is.
We're a recruitment agency that specialises in ex-offenders. So what will happen, our business model is, from the first week of May, we will be going into all 6 prisons in the West Midlands. Our business model is, so when they have got between 4 and 6 weeks left, we will go in there. My course facilitators will come in with me, do maths and English level 1 and 2, depending on what they need, first aid, health and safety, employability courses with them. So then if they are ready and they're happy with what they've done and they're ready to go into work when they come out and they're mentally and physically ready to do it, which there's hundreds of thousands of people that are, by the way, that have just said enough's enough now and they want to work. I'll interview them on site, as in the prison. So essentially, if they get home on Monday, they can go into work on Wednesday and completely cut that grey area out of
where they have to fight for it.
Of what I had.
So funny enough, I had this conversation with someone quite recently, and they said the same thing, that when you come out of prison, there isn't anything there. There's one that I know of in Birmingham called User Voice, I think. They only employ ex-offenders, It's the only people they employ. So if you're not an ex-offender, they won't employ you. But I think that's fair enough, because there's, you know, those of us that aren't ex-offenders, there's plenty of opportunities.
You know what? I had this conversation with someone the other day, and someone said to me, so if I was a company of XYZ, if I was a managing director of XYZ and that was my company, why would I use your ex-offenders and not normal people that thing? And I said, I'm not saying don't use anyone else. Of course, if they are fitted to the job and their skill set is right, then by all means, I'm just saying, give them an equal opportunity. At least look. At least have a look, because if we've done all the vetting for them, and we've done all the skill set stuff and figured out what they like, what they don't like, how they are physically and mentally, then if they're capable of doing the job, let them do the job. Why can't they work? Why should they have to be on universal credit when they've got 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 feet, and they can work?
They can work,
So
it's a vicious circle.
they're normal,
the system, it's kind of like the system wants to trap people, isn't it? And even like the prison system, I personally, again, my opinion, I don't think there's any rehabilitative sort of benefit from being in prison. They say it's for rehabilitation, but it's not. As you say, you've done it because you had to sit there in 4 walls on your own and really go in deep. There wasn't anybody there in prisons that help you and say, you know, when you get out, this is what you can do, these are your opportunities. You're just left to it. You're left to just your own devices.
Do you know what? You are right to an extent, because if you want to, then you can. Don't get me wrong. You'd have to push that issue. But if you want to, you can. So like with me, the Open University courses and just general self-development and whatever. But still, then, when I got out, it was still me. It wasn't like, come on, let's, do you know, like what I'm trying to do now.
Exactly.
And that is what I'm trying to if I can even help a percentage of the people that are in or were in or have been in or are in now the situation that I was, then it makes me happy, because it just makes me feel like if I could take someone's struggle away so they don't have to do it, then that's great for me. That's what the whole business model's about. Like,
do you have anything to do with, say, people that obviously you do? So are you already in connection with people that are due to come out of prison and you're due to help them get a job?
Yeah. So there's information and guidance officers in each prison. It's like IAG officers. Yeah. So they are the link really between the prisoners and their OMU workers, which is inside the prison, and the probation, and what's happening between them. Yeah. Because I've got them on board with me, and they think I'm a godsend, because I'm literally doing their job, not doing their job for them, but I'm making it a lot easier. Because I wish there was a recruitment agency when I got out that openly welcomed me, because I had to lie on the sheets, on the forms. I had to say, no, I'm not. Like,
anything. DBS comes through.
Yeah, and then they come and then just say, come on. And that was it. 2 weeks later, like, that was it, done. That happened 3 or 4 times. But I shouldn't have to lie. Yeah. And they shouldn't have to lie, because I'm capable.
Yeah. And as you say, you know, if for criminals that come out of jail, if you want to go back into offending, you're not going to be out here trying to apply for jobs. Look, if I want to offend and I want to go back into crime, why do you think I'm applying for a job for?
You're not interested.
You're not interested. You know what I mean? If I wanted to go out on the streets and carry on doing what I'm doing, I wouldn't be here fighting to get a job.
I agree.
So you're saying it starts up in May. What kind of jobs will you help them get into? Because you say you're a recruitment agency. Will you sort of fight on their behalf to get them into jobs?
Yeah, so that's my that's me doing that. So I've got a partner as well that's got a long history in recruitment. So that's really helpful, because he can open the doors for me to get into. Yeah. Railways, HS2 is coming, so that's a big one. And then also the train, I do the courses, they do the PTS courses in prison. So we've linked up with them to get something going with them. The motorways, like highway management, that's a really good one, really well paying as well for the lads, like £110 a shift kind of thing. So they can, that's up and down the country as well. So if they can come out, if I knew that I could come out and work within days or even a week maybe, and then the following week bring home 400 odd quid or whatever it may be, it automatically just takes that whole stress away, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I suppose when you're in prison, you think, what am I going to do when I get out?
Yeah.
How am I going to make money? What am I going to? And it's so, I think it's so much more easier to go back to a life of crime, because it's what you know, it's what you're comfortable with. Yeah. It's you know how to make money in that sense, you know. Whereas trying to go clean and go straight and narrow, it's kind of, well, where do I start with it? And if no one's going to give me that opportunity, what am I supposed to do? And you come along and say, well, I'll create the opportunity for myself then. I'll do it for myself. Do you think that having a third party, such as yourself, will help ex-offenders when they get out of prison?
I'm hoping to be the bridge, yeah. Me and a couple of mentors that I'll have working beside me, they can resonate. Yeah. Like I'm not being I'll never be condescending to anyone, but there's not a lot that they can really tell me that I haven't seen or
experience.
I will know if they're still smoking spice. I will look at them and I will know they are. Do you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And when they're genuine, obviously I can only go by my gut, and the other people that are working alongside me, we can only trust people and, you know, like have people's best intentions at heart. But I'd like to think that I wouldn't have the wool pulled over my eyes, like as maybe someone a bit more white collar or corporate doing it.
Textbook learners, I think, are called them. You've got that lived experience, haven't you? So as you say, you'll know. Whereas somebody that maybe has just been through university, for example, and they've just come out, they won't know. They don't know.
Which is great for whatever skill set they want to use. But with this specifically, I think when people know that, you know, what's behind my story, I'm hoping they will just understand that I understand a little bit and just be a bit more open, and, you know, whatever, we can work through things, and we can, the whole point of my business model is to help them not have to go back.
Yeah, of course.
So
what led you to this point then? Obviously it's only launching in May, so isn't what you've been doing since you got out of prison.
Nah.
So what led you to this? What struggles did you go through to have to get to where you are now?
So personal training, I did quite well with that, to be honest. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, football background, and I knew quite a lot of people in the industry, and I was gym orderly while I was in prison, so it was kind of like a easy switch over kind of thing, because I just spent so much time in the gym anyway. They just said, do you want to pay rent here and get some clients? So that worked for me. But then I had my daughter, Isla, she came along, and because my clients were like 5 a.m, 8 a.m, like kind of slots, you know, before work, and then like 5 p.m. to like 10 p.m, you know, like before people work and stuff.
Yeah.
It was, I was hardly seeing her, and when I was seeing her, she was sleeping, and it just wasn't. It just wasn't for me. I applied for a role at a main high street gym, a well-known high street gym. They gave me the job. They gave me my uniform. And then the HR come back 3 days later saying there's no way we can let him on site. Have you seen his criminal record? Took it all back. So then that was it. And then from there, at that point, I've got a family to provide for.
Yeah.
I've worked in halal slaughterhouses. I've worked as a driver's mate, so I go and delivering beer up and down the country. I've done warehouse work, night shifts, 10 till 4. Horrible night
How
shifts,
did it
man.
feel for your self-development? Like, I'm guessing just going from job to job, you just thought, you know what, this isn't me, this isn't what I want to do.
Yeah, I always felt like I just had more to give, but and then I had another voice saying, well, this isn't all you got to give because this is the situation you're in, so this is what you're going to have to do. So I was always battling against myself because I have one part of me saying, come on, you're better than this, and the other part saying, no, you're not. Stack that shelf,
and all your life people will say to you, look at his criminal record, he can't do this. It's instilling it into your subconscious, isn't it? As though, well, I'm not good enough. Anywhere I go, I get turned away.
It's very easy done.
Because of my history, I get turned away. Whereas, if anything, you've got a lot to offer because of your life experience. Because you've sat in prison cells and thought. And as you say, you was having books. You was reading books in there. So I'm guessing that really, the books that you've just said you was reading, to Napoleon Hill, things like that. I bet that really, really helped you.
It's like a Bible.
Yeah.
Because I used to I never give anyone my books ever, even now, because I'll underline them. All my notes are in them books, so everything's highlighted and things. Because say Think and Grow Rich, the chapters, you can just flick through it to one that applies now.
All through life as well.
Do you know what I mean? So I've read some great stuff.
Did you read Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill?
Nah, I haven't read that. I'm reading one, Being in Power of Your Subconscious Mind at the minute. It's all a similar thing. It's all self-development. I would encourage anyone to read, or if not read, audio books when you're driving to work. Yeah. Because me personally, that helped my self-development so much. My mind is so powerful. Yours is, everyone's is, not just mine, but for good and for bad.
Yeah. It's the saying, isn't it? You get two wolves inside of you, and it matters what wolf that you feed.
Really, genuinely does, because it's so powerful. You can literally think things into existence.
And I think the more you cling on to them thoughts as well, isn't it? So, if you think one bad thought, for example, you get up in the morning and say, I'm not good enough, and you cling and you obsess on that thought, you're going to live that life. You are never really going to be good enough, are you?
I agree, definitely.
So are you into sort of spirituality like people are, or is it more for you self-development? So you're one of these that sort of, you'll meditate and...
Nah, do you know what? A lot of I've got friends that play football at quite a good level. Yeah. And he's one friend I'm talking about, and he bangs on about it all the time. But it's not really for me, personally. But it's each to their own kind of thing. I don't know. With the spirituality and stuff, I believe in karma more than I believe in God, and I know that's a very outlandish comment.
It's your opinion.
But I genuinely believe in karma more than I believe in. Well, it's just faith, isn't it? Because people can have faith in all different things. That's why there's so many different religions. It's just faith, whatever it is faith. But
so is the work that you do? Is it age restricted? So or is it just anybody?
They need to be an adult.
They need to be an adult.
Yeah. So 18 and above. Yeah.
Do you work very closely with young people, juveniles?
I would like to, but the thing is, my business model obviously is placing people directly into work. So with the younger adults, I think they really need it, but because we can't place them into work, it'd be more like mentoring and training and that kind of route, which isn't what we're doing. But I'd absolutely love to help as many young people as possible. But it's just.
I think it'd be good because if you can put yourself in your 18-year-old's mind, it'd be really good if you could go into prisons and you could go into juvenile prisons and you could speak to say 16 to 18-year-olds and say, look, I was you at one point. This is what you need to do.
That's the route, HMP Aylesbury down south in London. I've got to go there in a couple of weeks, and maybe Brinsford as well. The woman needs to come back to me, but it will be more speaking about life experiences and whatever, rather than what we actually do for NextLife. I think that will be more for me personally. Okay. Do you know, because I was them. I was that age, and I think I behave like that. But
so you've got sort of two different journeys then. So you've got your NextLife, which is a recruitment agency to help people and ex-offenders get into work, and then you've got your personal life where you do. I think you'd be brilliant at motivational speaking. I've been to events before, and I've listened to ex-offenders speak, and I just think, wow, like the way you turn your life around, it's really inspiring. And I'm not an ex-offender, and for me, it's really inspiring to hear how somebody can come out and change their life around and do it on their own as well. There's not much help out there for when you come out of prison at all.
No, I agree. Thank you.
It's okay. So what prisons are you going to be working directly with?
So in the West Midlands, Hull is the first one that I'll be going into.
Open, that is, isn't it?
Hull is, yeah. But because remember, I say our target market, but the prisoners that are getting closer to release will be the ones that will be closer to us, won't they? So the Cat C and Cat D prisons, they'll literally be ready to come out. So Birmingham's a Cat B, and I've heard as well that it's going to be only a remand jail. So I'm going to wait and see how that plans out, because even though it would be great to show people that there is an opportunity there, and I'd like to some of our marketing stuff to be in the prison so they're aware of us, and I'll go in there and talk, but running the courses in there and physically getting people into work from there wouldn't really be much point, because they don't know whether they're coming or going.
So you're just going to go across prisons in Birmingham?
Yeah, so Shaw, Brinsford, Oakwood, Featherston, Sudbury, Stoke Heath, because I was at Stoke Heath for about 2.5 years myself, so I know the number one governor there. We're going to go there. Where else have I missed? Yeah, just the local prisons to start with, and then hopefully we could branch out. You never know.
So what about those that maybe don't want to engage but need it? Will you only try and push those that want to engage? Some people might say, no, I don't want to get into work, I don't want to. Are they the ones? So you won't sort of try and push? Because
I won't push anyone because I need them to be 100% committed when they're there. I could sit down with them for an hour, or anyone, and convince them that this is the right thing to do, but then there could be wherever we've placed them, wherever they're working, and say, forget this, I'm not doing it, and cause problems, because they need to be happy. Like, I genuinely believe that people that are going into work need to want to do it and need to be happy doing it, and
because working it's a strain work, isn't it? Best of the times I just think I can't be arsed.
Anyone, there's not many people that can genuinely enjoy the job, but I'd hope to think, because I'm thinking how I would be, there'll be a lot of grateful people there too. Yeah. There'll be a lot of grateful people that I'm working with, because I've done all the legwork for them to walk into a job. So I'm hoping that it will really change the dynamics of how things are done, in a sense of they won't have to struggle as much as I did and do the things that I did. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So going back to sort of the prison system, what improvements do you think can be made within the prison system?
You see, it's hard, that one is, because I got released in 2015, and because obviously with what we do now, I've been keeping a close eye on it. There seems to be, on the surface of things, like real improvements, with the ROTL system and people getting out on town leaves and home leaves, and being able to work from the open prisons and whatever. It's great integration, and that helped me a lot as well. But it's hard really for me to say what improvements they can make until I'm physically in there on the deck with them, because my last memories of prison was when I got released, and things change in 5 years.
Yeah, of course. I've done voluntary work. I did again through the company User Voice, and I went into Featherston with a group of volunteers, and it was about prison elections, and there was at this point there was there was 3 different parties there at this point.
Joking?
No, we actually went in there. It was sort of 2 of us to each wing that we'd go into. So there was me, and I was with an ex-offender on the wing. And I went in there, and I knew a couple of people that was on the wing, and they was like, what are you doing here? And I explained, and they laughed at me. And I was like, well, what are you laughing at? They was like, so if no one's going to vote, no one gives a shit about voting. And I was like, well, why not? And there was genuinely 3 different parties. One of them was sort of advocating for mental health. The other one was advocating for more screen time. There was just
more what time?
Screen time, so sort of more time on the telly, being allowed phones and stuff like that in there.
See, they've all got phones in their cell, haven't they now?
Yeah, but I think I'm going back 2-3 years ago. And I think to myself, well, we know that a lot of us behind the scenes do have it anyway, but they wanted to have it where they was allowed to have it. But when I spoke to a lot of them, they was voting because we were just stood there waving this ballot in the face with the ballot box, and they was just saying, nothing's going to change in here, nothing at all is going to change. And I remember seeing a Mamba attack in there. It was quite traumatic for me. And I learned the difference between code blue and code red, and I think code red was when it's blood, and code blue is when the lips go blue. And it was quite traumatic for me, and it took about 5-10 minutes for the screws just to come and do anything about it. I think me being in there and then leaving there and then reflecting on it, I don't know if that's because I'm a female or because I've been in jail, but it was quite hard hitting, and just I don't know, just the way it was in general, I just thought there could be a lot more help in there. But then, as you say, you've got to be 100% committed to wanting that help as well, haven't you?
It's hard because some people, you need to understand that they're happy with that, like with what they're doing and the risk against reward of what they might be doing in prison and seeing, you know, like, because I know for a lot of people that can go into prison, land on whatever wing and be quite comfortable. Like, but the thing is, for me, the biggest thing is your freedom.
Yeah.
Like, it's your freedom. Like, it's not about, like, if they can earn X amount, then they might have to go away for a bit, and because they're fine in there. It's not anything major being fine in there, but you haven't got your freedom. Like, you can't go and... That's what it was for me. Like, it's like, do all these things or whatever, and at the end of it, get the main thing that you want and need take away from you, because that's...
Yeah. Do you not think people, a lot of prisoners are scared because with you knew what you wanted to do and you knew that you wanted that freedom. Do you think for a lot of them they're scared of how to get that freedom, and it's a case of, you know what, it's easy just to go back to jail because I don't know what to do, you know, I come out, I don't get no housing support, you know, I don't even know how to go on the benefit system, and let's be honest, the benefit system's constantly changing over years. So when you say going 5 years ago, when you come out 5 years later, it's a completely different system.
It is.
You know, just there's no support when they come out. So do you think it could be a case of people just do it because they're scared, because they don't know how to live as a normal functioning adult?
But it's lack of understanding. But then again, it's some people aren't as brave, and that's okay. Like, some people aren't as headstrong, maybe, or, you know, like, because there's a lot of varying crimes, isn't there?
Yeah,
like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
There's people there's a lot of addictions, whether it's alcohol or drugs.
Yeah.
And there's financial gain.
Yeah.
There's people that got caught up in things that maybe they shouldn't have been caught up in. There's such a big array of...
Someone just drove a car.
Yeah.
And crashed it. Yeah.
So, you know, 40% of the UK jail population is through motor crime.
Is it really?
40%. 40%.
That's a high statistic.
Of like 87,000 prisoners in the UK.
40% is through motor crime. That's what, like, driving without a licence,
All
driving without
sorts,
insurance.
Yeah. Mad, isn't it?
And just think, if they do 5 years, you know, they've not had no financial gain from it. They've literally just got into a car and, or for whatever reason, you know, they've driven, they've crashed or whatever. But then they could literally be thrown away their life, and then they'll come out and the whole world's changed.
Yeah, everything could be completely changed. It's sad because, like you were saying just about like traumatic things, but they do change and shape people. I remember I was in Sudbury, I was having a town visit on a Saturday, and me and this other the guy across the landing to me, we're both going out on Saturday morning. Yeah. When the doors got locked on Friday night, I said, "Yeah, see you in the morning. We're going home." Like happy. I got up in the morning. I was up early, shower, got changed. Like, we're going out for the day, like buzzing. Yeah. I'm thinking, "Where's Ali?" I said to him, where is he? Like, no one's seen him. Door's still shut. The opened the flap and it was just dark. Yeah. Just nothing at all. Everyone's banging the door like he was his first one. He's like his mum and that were coming to see him, and he's banging the door. In the end, someone, because it was an open prison, someone opened the window from the other side and jumped in. He was dead in his bed. He had a heart attack, whether that was Mamba or steroids or whatever. I went out to my mum and dad, and his mum and dad were waiting there, and they didn't know. It's heartbreaking.
How long was he in there for?
Drugs, couple of years, 2.5 years, something like that. And then it's heartbreaking. It genuinely is. But then, because I've got different experiences of things that have happened, it's close to my heart to be able to just try and change this a little bit, and try and genuinely help. Like, I know when I was in the swimming hall, there was a guy called George from Oxford. Such a lovely lad he was, you know. I swear. I know it sounds thingy, but he was just genuinely good-hearted. Yeah. And there's a law called joint enterprise, and he was there when a stabbing happened. But he was in the park, but he was the other side of the park. And if you ever met George, he has not got it in him to do anything like that. He genuinely hasn't. And they said to him, if you take an early guilty plea, you get 4 years. You'll serve 2. Serve 2 years. You go home. He said, I didn't do it. He said,
it's more of a case of respect. I wasn't there.
I didn't do it. He got 18 years.
Are you joking? Through joint enterprise? They were trying to scrap joint enterprise in the end.
I don't know if they did do it or not, but at that time he got 18 years. But then when he comes out, what's someone like him meant to do? And like he's soft, George was. Do you know what I mean? Like he was a good lad. Like what's he meant to do? But the thing is, that's like a big example.
Yeah.
But there's so many different people that are like that. Like not everyone that have. Not everyone's unfortunate because, come on, like they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
For one reason or another, like
Yeah.
even if they were directly involved or if they weren't, or for some reason or another they're in that space in their life. But it doesn't mean that they should be punished for the rest of their life for it.
No, it doesn't. And as you say, 18 years, and what is he going to do? The world's a completely different place. I know of someone that done, I think, 15 years, and he come out and he didn't even know how to work smartphones because he was an older guy. He genuinely didn't even know how to work smartphones.
Things change.
You know, my sister had to help him get put on the benefit system, and he was like, I don't know what to do. And I felt really sorry for him. And when you're looking at them, they're big guys. You know what I mean? You look at them and just think how to live your life, but they don't.
Different world, isn't it?
It's a completely different world, and then they end up going back. And I think that's where I think the improvements could be within the rehabilitation process. Yeah, you could want to do it, but what if you don't know how to do it? What if you genuinely don't know how to? What if you think, well, where do I start? Okay, you can do your courses there, but then you get out, then what?
It's a problem because, like I said, even when I did my open university, like my level 3s, like personal training and nutrition and all that kind of stuff, so I've got the qualification, but unless I was self-employed and ran it myself like I did, none of the gyms would let me go and use the qualification that I had. So
what's the point in having the qualification?
Exactly, but then again, it comes down to when they do come home, just trying to bridge that gap and just help and just genuinely help. Do you know what I mean? And cut down that grey area of people not knowing what to do, and
so that's where you step in. So when is it launching then? It's in May.
The only reason why we haven't gone already is because of COVID, because of being able to get in and out of the prisons like fluently.
Okay, yeah, because in prisons as well, weren't they only allowed out for like 1 hour a day?
23-hour bang up, a lot of them.
So what do you think about that?
It'd be hard on the head, won't it? It'd be very hard on the head. But the scary thing is, they'll become used to it.
Yeah.
They will become used to it.
And then how do you expect them to integrate back into society then when they're just used to being sat on their own? I couldn't imagine it.
There's one thing being in there, confined in there and your freedom took, but you're still able to have a life because you've got a life in there, like as in like education, gym and whatever. Because the way I got my head around the sentence was forget about what's happening out there. I need to concentrate on here. So I've got education in the morning at this time. I come back, I eat my dinner, I've got gym, and then X, Y, Z's on telly at night. And that's my days.
It keeps you going, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah. But then when they have all that talk and they are sitting in there, I don't know. Well, I'll soon find out, won't I?
And it's kind of like, it's mental health, whether you're a criminal or not, you still deserve to have a sane mental health. How do you expect them to stay sane? And some of them go in the gym. It's
a big help, that is.
You know what I mean? It releases endorphins. It makes you feel good naturally. How can you not allow them to at least that? It should be a basic right to allow them just to exercise. Sitting there for 23 hours a day and they're allowed out just to eat.
It's mad, isn't it?
So that's really prevented you then during the past 12 months, the pandemic has?
Yeah, well, I started putting this together properly. When I say, it was an idea start of last year. When I actually start thinking, listen, I can do this. This has got legs. Because to me, myself, I had to go through all the what ifs, but what about this and what about that? And people were saying, oh, well, you can't do that, and what about that? And I was thinking, but then I said to my girlfriend, I said, listen, this is it. I'm just going to do it, and I'm just going to run it, and I'll try my best. And if I can get the doors open, then great. And then if not, then I've absolutely thinking. But luckily, through the people that I've spoke to and had to go and sit down with meetings and you speak to clients, and then LinkedIn has been massive for me because it's like a professional Facebook.
Yeah, you
crazy.
Have a yeah,
crazy. LinkedIn's amazing because people are reaching out for me from all over the country because obviously LinkedIn, ex-offender, recruitment agency.
And it's got the keywords on LinkedIn, isn't it?
I'm not daft. I'm thinking it's clickbait.
Yeah.
And then they clock what's happening and reach out, and then I start putting things together. And over the last 6 to 8 months, I've started putting together a serious map of a system of what to do it. And then the last couple of months, it's been pretty much ironed out completely. So we have a full system of from registration to employment and everything in between, as in courses, employability, the interviews, therapists if need be, mentors to bridge the gap, and actually put operations into play properly. And then now I'm waiting for one of the main IAG officers to get back off leave, and then I think Hull is going to be the first one that we go into, but looking towards the first couple of weeks in May just to get the green light, just to go and
So it'll
get
be a
going.
case of how will they find out, so how will the prisoners find out about what you do?
Because the IAG officers are in there.
Okay, and then they'll go and tell them, here's this opportunity.
So what they'll do, they have TVs on. They didn't have this when I was there either, but they have TVs it's like a news screen, but just for them.
Yeah.
So like things like flash on and whatever, and then they'll see it or word of mouth. Because really, their OMU officers should be saying, well, what I've pitched for them to say, what I've asked for them to say, is that what are your plans for when you go home? Look at this.
Yeah. So they should be promoting it for you.
Yeah, because why not? Like, because that was my genuine question. Why not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Because I genuinely have got the jobs to do it. Well, me as a company, we genuinely have got the jobs for us to do it.
Yeah, so
we've
you've networked
facilitated
yourself
it.
where you've got the, you know, you can
So why can't we? And to be honest, they've all been great. They've all been really good so far.
I was going to say, do you think you get some that would just sort of be like, well, no, why should I? Because, you know, I think some prison officers, they don't really care about helping people. They don't really care about rehabilitating and people getting out and living a better life. So was that a worry for you, thinking, you know, what if they just don't care enough to try and help them? Not help you, but to help them?
I'm lucky, really, because LinkedIn, again, one of the heads of reoffending messaged me. Like, they reached out to me. A lot of these people have reached out to me just through my story and what I'm doing with it. And they've wanted to have a chat, and there's been like Zoom meetings or Teams meetings or whatever, and then we've built relationships, and then they trust me and they can see, like from what they say to me, they can see what I am and who I want, not what I am, but what I want to do with these people. Do you know what I mean? And it's genuine. Like, I'm not. This is my life.
Yeah, you
so
can see something
do you know what I mean? It's my life, so it can't really be. No one can really put me on the spot because it's my life. So I'm hoping everyone will get on board. So that in an ideal world, it won't happen, but because nothing does happen like that. But in an ideal world, I would love for as many people as possible to get on board.
I think some people can be quite small-minded to it, can't they, as well? Whereas, you know, it's not about anybody else; it's about prisoners. And how do you expect us to live in a fully functioning society if we're not helping people integrate back into society, whether it's prisoners, whether it's people coming out of mental institutions? How do you allow people to function? Do you just want them to stay in a horrible little box?
It's mad because I read somewhere the other day, I can't remember where it was online, but I read somewhere about this. People don't want to give opportunities to people that have been in prison or have trouble with the law or whatever. Yeah. But they also don't want to live next door to an armed robber either.
Yeah.
So if someone, would you rather wake up and know your neighbour is a guy that goes to work and earns his money and looks after his family and put that behind him and had the opportunity to do so? Or what else?
It's like catch-22, people just want to moan, don't they? Yeah, well, I don't want to help you, but I don't want to live next door to you. Obviously, what do you want to do then?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do to help?
That's right, it's true.
That's brilliant. So just to wrap it up, what piece of advice would you give to somebody that might need that little push to not offend, or that maybe is currently living a life of crime at the moment that just needs a bit of advice?
The best advice I could possibly give is that it catches up with you. It honestly does. It doesn't matter. It catches up with you. Not maybe now, and I understand the money and the turnover and the lifestyle but it doesn't matter. None of it matters. None of it matters. When you're sitting there alone and you've got a big sentence, none of it matters. I had friends that first 2 weeks, my mail, it was like fan mail, but then after a month, after 6 months, after a year, I had 1 or 2 people that stayed with me throughout the whole thing. And that's genuinely the truth. No one cares. Yeah. Don't think for 1 minute that anyone cares, because they don't. They genuinely don't.
Quick to walk away
and the only person that's going to look after you is you. That's it. It's the best advice I could give.
Brilliant. Thank you, Daniel. It's been a very, very eye-opening conversation. Thank you for joining us on the podcast.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.